Welcome everyone. Today we have an important upcoming patch update for Path of Exile 2. And of course, as we go through the patch notes, let's come over to the most important part for the summoners that we are playing. And yes, I'm assuming most of you are playing the summoners like me, and there is some concerning factors. I actually did not see this on the first time I was reading. I only saw the supporter gems added to the summoners with minion command, but I didn't see this one, which is actually a notable nerf. So, firstly, let's briefly go over to the summoners and let's go over the rest of the patch notes. And on the second part, let's talk about the potential adjustment you can have as regards to those nerfs, with skills have less reserve of spirit and also having additional reservation with undead minions. And we also talk about the potential to deal higher damage after the nerf, and I am planning to make a guide video on this after this. So yes, don't worry guys, we're still safe. We can deal even higher damage with the latest discovery, which I'll share with you guys briefly on the second part. As you guys can see the announcement over here, the last one was a weekend sale. This one was about an hour ago, and it has driven a lot of the summoners into fear because 90% of users summoning the skeleton arsonist, and is it matching the cost to the other skeleton mages? Let's briefly have a look at the other mages and let's have a look what are the costs and how are they going to affect us. So it's not the spirit gem I want the uncut skill gem. And let's go with the, I guess I will go with the stone mage. So this is a 41, this is a 40. So notice the spirit reservation over here are the 40. Let's have a look at this. So the skeleton arsonist reservation is 31. The reservation for the stone mage is 40 and for the force mage is 41. Let's just assume this is a 40. So we're going to assume this is a 40. I'm going to take this jewel. I'm going to replace those two. Oh, of course my gems are gone. So let's do this differently. Let's take this out. I'm testing those skills at the moment. So let's take away. So right now we're not doing anything. You can see that I have 12 of the skeleton arsonists. So I'm going to take those away. And let's put those over there. I have 9. So if the nerf is as significant and as massive, this will be a pretty hefty nerf. So this actually nerfed my damage by about 25%, because I was on, how many was on? I think I was on 12 and now I'm going to 9, right? So this is just a general summary, do not panic. So this is the worst case condition that might happen to the summonings, because this is 12, all the way you go down to 0, and here, the same thing over here. You can go over here, and this is 9. Now do keep in mind, it is possible for me to mega max my spirit and also to mega max the spirits over here to have higher quality. This was tailored before, and it is possible for me to do a little bit more, try to get one more. So the first thing you want to take away from the latest upcoming changes is that yes, the cost of the skeleton arsonist might go up to as high as 40. And if it's as high as 40, you might have a 25% nerf of the summons you can have. Now, of course, let's hope that the cost matches the other skeleton mages, means that it's not as high as 40. They said a slight increase in the number of arsonists, but maybe the slight increase is up to 25%, which is concerning. So what my plans are is once we get the patch change details, and I have had a look at potential unique items that can reduce the reservation. Just to show you guys over here, so before I have 9, now I have 12. Look at this, I have 12 skeleton mages. So that boots along compensated for all the nerf that was there. And I was thinking about trying out this stuff because, let me show you guys over here, this Scepter or this stuff is not like the Scepter, but it has the 50% less spirit reserved. So we can look into something like this, but of course it's not a Scepter, so it will lose damage. So there are ways we can have a quick fix of the nerf that is coming, no matter how strong it is. And we also have other plans, which I'll make a detailed guide for you guys, to boost the damage of the skeleton arsonist. So as to summarize for this one, it won't be a detrimental nerf to the build, because right now we're doing 1 second against the boss. You might now do 1.25 seconds against the boss, but the bosses are dying super fast. And here let's have a look at the other ones. There's a nerf to the damage over time with a high level of the tornado and so fire arrows. I'm not really sure about the build. And also magnetic servo can not only be used when you stack lightning arrows. By the looks of it, they didn't nerf the sources, right? Or maybe did they? So let's briefly have a look at the rest of the patch notes in case you guys are also interested. The first thing, or the good thing is, we're getting less gold cost for respecting in higher levels because the curve and also the dramatic increase is too much for the players, especially in the mid-game progression. This is a very good thing, 40 to 50% buff to the cost, so the costs are getting lower. The second thing is the Trial of Ascension or the Trial of Seconds. Those are very scary, very annoying. Getting hit means you lose honor, and this means you will take damage, and when you lose all your honor, you'll die. So now you have the take 35% less honor damage, and this means that potentially you can survive for longer. There is a bug fix over here, and Skele golems no longer attack. Nothing too special, I think. The biggest one for the trials is that if you're doing the trial of Skele, it will be 35% easier if you find yourself getting hit a lot and dying to the honor damage. So this is a lesser buff. In terms of the endgame and also monster balancing, map no longer have additional elemental resistance penalty applied. That's good because a lot of players were having trouble with the endgame, especially with the minus elemental resistance. Chaos damage is not less aggressive in the endgame, which is also good. I'm also planning to stack a lot of chaos damage. Critical strike for monsters now deal 40% less damage. So those are all buffs to make the endgame easier for players to access. So lower the baseline monster density. Oh, that's not good. So the lower of the monster density means that Breach might give less experience. Disable the crystal model. I'm not really sure about this one. Purple explosive created by the vulnerable. Okay, I'm not too sure about those two. If you guys know, let me know. The Siphon Flask charge modifier on monsters now drawing 10 times less flask charges. This is good. I was getting drawn off flask charges. I was like, WTF, whatever to all my flask. Turns out it was a modifier that was drawing 10 times more flask charges. So those are good changes, and I do think this will help the players have more access to the endgame. Let's have a look at the item balancing. The charm modifier on the belt is going to be more appearing, and I do believe it is more easy to get the +1 charm slots, and this means you can have more charms. Well, most of us are sitting with 1 charm. And added a lightning damage and execute caster to the passive trees for ranger and also monk. That's pretty cool. And also the chain freeze enemies by reducing. It's more difficult to chain freeze enemies now with the freeze build up, so this may be a nerf to the freeze build. You might want to notice this if you're playing a freeze build. Now over here, we're going to have a look at some of the skills, and they're saying some of the skills are overpowered. So those are the skills that are improved. I don't think it's massively. It is a little nice to have the bone skills and damage over time, but we're not really dealing this. We're not a blood mage. Now over here, we'll be getting additional gems to be added to the game. So here we have a thermal support, which will be used to give up more aftershock with skills with a damage penalty. So titans with totems, this can definitely work. We have a binding support, which allows us to deal more damage with command skills. Remember in the past that you can summon in your fire spirit and you can explode them, but of course I'm no longer using the explosion rod. But let me show you guys over here. So I'm going to get the fire spirit, I'm going to explode them. Nope, not exploding. So I do not have the necessary lowered HP. I have perked into more HP for the minions, and because I have more HP for the minions, they no longer explode instantly. So this particular change of having this additional gem will not be the best for the skeleton arsonist because they want to do raw damage. And having a gem that only increases damage with command skills is not going to be the best for us. The fire explosion, lightning explosion, cold explosion support skill now no longer penalize damage. They now have a mana multiplier. This is actually really good. This is possibly allowing build that deals elemental damage, including our build, to do higher damage. So let's have a look at fire explosion. So supporter skill inflict fire explosion and also ignite enemies. This is actually what I used on my Hellhound. So I'll show you guys over here. The Hellhound we have is actually very good with fire explosion. We can even amplify fire explosion by 30% with the latest build setup. So yes, this is actually a sizable buff, but it is really not the biggest for us because it's not lowering the resistance, which is what we want. It is no longer penalizing damage, which is not a nerf to us because we don't care about the damage because the Hound is focused on debuffing enemies. But having high damage is not bad because we can burn the enemy and we do not cost mana for the Hound. So this is a mini buff for the burning and also Hound damage for the summoners. And finally, you can see this is a bigger one with Skeleton Arsonist. So you might be asking me, Matt, how are you going to fix this or how are we going to adjust for this? Well, the short question is, please wait for the next video, which I'll update you guys. We have discovered new tech and also a new combination of the skill gems together with skill rotations with better AI with the minions, which is guaranteed to do at least 30 to 40% more damage. And because we're double dipping in something interesting, they did not nerf that. So yes, we can still be safe with the summoners. We can deal even high damage even after the nerf of similar damage. So in that sense, even if the nerf is as high as 25% of my summoner units, we can still adjust to this. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And some of my ideas, of course, is not to force you guys to wear those boots without movement speed. I still have them and I use them when I don't need the movement speed because this gives me, 30 to 20% more summons. But other cases, there will be method that will be adjusted very soon, shortly after this nerf, and we get the notes of how many skeletons are nerfed. I'll let you guys know with the latest update. So let me know in the comments below, guys. They finally got that right. Like, no, Matt, don't make videos about the summoners. And the more you make, the more they got nerfed. Well, they got us on the skeleton summoners, but we can still do more. Now, before we finish, if you guys haven't subscribed, this is a really good time to do so because I'll be looking into the latest Path of Exile 2 news on different communities and also on our official forum, official webpage. I'll also be looking into the best build for each of the class as the meta develops with the Chinese and also the English community. So stay tuned for the latest update and also guides for Path of Exile 2. And of course, this is going to be a big month for us. And I'll try to bring you guys all of the latest content and also guides for Path of Exile 2 to come.